I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 0-2. And here on Arrowhead Allies this week to help us try to make sense of all this, because if we were left to our own devices, we may just tear things down a little bit here on Arrowhead Allies. So to try to keep things a little bit on the sane side, we had to do it. We had to go out and get one of the best in the business. Trey Wingo is joining us here. He's going to try to maybe keep us off the ledge a little bit. Trey, welcome to the show. I know you've already talked a little bit about the Chiefs earlier today on your podcast. How are you doing, sir?
Good, guys. How are you? How's everybody doing in Kansas City?
Well, you know.
No, I don't. That's why I asked.
I'm trying to save some of the good stuff, Trey. I'm trying to keep things positive. 0-2 here. And as you talked about, I mean, let's just get right into it here, Trey. The Chiefs at 0-2, I think in the last 5 seasons since 2020, of the 85 teams, only 75 have missed the playoffs. So this is not your average 0-2 team. We know that, Trey. But through the first 2 weeks, the Chiefs play against 2 very good teams here. But where do you see that this team is right now, kind of following this start?
Well, I guess the easiest way to answer that was we still haven't seen the 2025 Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, if we're being honest about it, we're still waiting for the entire receiving core of Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, and Xavier Worthy to be on the same field at the same time. You know, last year, Hollywood injured his shoulder in the first preseason game, basically missed the entire season before coming back late. And then Rashee Rice had his knee destroyed in the game against the Chargers early in the season. And Xavier Worthy, as a rookie, was on the same path, basically, if you look at his development, on the same path as Rashee a year ago. And I said going into this season, I thought that the Chiefs had the deepest receiving core they've had in Patrick Mahomes' career. And he's played exactly 0 snaps, 0 with those 3 guys on the field. So I'm not pushing the panic button yet. This team is far too experienced, far too talented for them to not understand what's in front of them. However, it is imperative for them to beat the Giants on Sunday night. If they beat the Giants on Sunday night, I think everything is fine. If they don't, then we got real issues.
Yeah, and Trey, talking about the Giants, just real quick, just if people think this is going to be easy, the Chiefs will get back to business. They'll be 1-2.
Nothing is easy.
A little bit on the offensive line.
Nothing is easy. Nothing is easy. I mean, look at last year. How many one-score games did they win? I mean, nothing's going to be easy. They just have to finish. You know, you look at the game on Sunday, 2 plays changed the entire game. The Travis Kelce drop or batted ball that led to an interception at the goal line, and Patrick missing Tyquan Thornton on what would have been a huge play with plenty of time to spare, so they wouldn't have to go into desperation mode in the onside kick and everything else. It's just a matter of executing when things are on the line. Nothing's going to be easy. I mean, Patrick said this a couple of years ago when he was doing the match live on either TBS or TNT, and you heard him say, Ernie, you know how this is. I don't like blowouts. I like to keep it close. I like to keep it entertaining. I like to keep it interesting. It's never going to be easy with Kansas City. They just need to execute in the critical moments, and through 2 games, they haven't.
Yeah, great to have you on this week, Trey. Thank you for coming on the show. But I was at the game yesterday, 109, row 6, sitting in my seat 13, and I got a really good version or video of the tush push and what goes into the tush push and how the Eagles are actually able to execute it. And the arguments are starting to heat up now, and I'm pretty sure the people wanting it to ban it, their arguments have never been stronger than yesterday. As to now, I believe they have a solid, concrete reason as to get rid of this thing. Because although I was never one to be on the bandwagon of getting rid of the tush push, because I just always thought it was something specific to the Eagles and a strength that they do to their team. And it's legally a football play, although it looks more like rugby. But now we got real issues when you got the former head of officiating, Dean Blandino on Fox, talking about, I'm done with it. How do you officiate this? And I think that's a real strong question with this now. That we didn't really have that question last year, but now I saw it yesterday. It was about 3 or 4 offensive and defensive linemen for the Eagles and Chiefs, both going offsides and false starting. How does the NFL mitigate this situation now that we see that this kind of is hard to officiate on the field?
It's really simple. Just call it. Like, I'm not for look. I have no problem with the Eagles doing the tush push. Okay, they're better at it than anybody. If it was this easy gimme play, right? Everybody would do it with the success that the Eagles have done it. We saw it in the AFC Championship game last year. Josh Allen couldn't get it done on that fourth down play against the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. Just call it if it's an offsides. Call it if it's a false start. NFL officials, this just in, are bad. They're bad. There's no way around it. Okay. Everyone wants to look at the conspiracy theories, which that was the funniest thing to me last year. Do you know which team had the most touchdowns called back by penalty in 2024? I'm assuming you do. It was the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you know the team that had the most touchdown drives continued by penalty in the last 2 years? It was the Buffalo Bills. Like, imagine if Bill Vinovich had gone over to Patrick Mahomes during a playoff game and apologized for missing a call, how much the entire world would have had their head explode. No, it wasn't Patrick Mahomes. It was Josh Allen. So let's just get rid of – I'm going to be colorful here with my language.
Please.
Let's get rid of the bullshit, okay? Let's get rid of the bullshit. At the end of the day, all they have to do is call it. All they have to do is call it. And for Dean Blandino, who I love and is a friend of mine, is going to be on my podcast, Straight Facts Homie, very soon. For him to say, I'm tired of it, well, then just call it. Like, they did it in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago in Super Bowl 57. They called the Chiefs. They called the Eagles for that. Call it on them. Just call it, and we don't have to have this controversy of having it banned or not. It's like banning Hack-a-Shack in the NBA because he's terrible at free throws. No, be better at your free throws. So there's no controversy if you just call the blatant false starts or the blatant offsides. It doesn't matter. So I don't want it banned just because one team does it better. What I want is for the NFL to call it when there's a freaking penalty. That's all.
Hi, Trey. You mentioned earlier that you think Travis Kelce is killing the team right now. Can you give us a little more insight on that?
Look, I want to be clear. I love Travis, okay? He's a friend of mine. I've known Travis forever. But if you go back and look at this season, he stopped running on an easy touchdown pass against the Chargers in Brazil, right? If he just keeps running, that's an easy touchdown. He admitted on his own podcast that he was responsible for taking Xavier Worthy out of the game 3 snaps in with a crossing route that wasn't run correctly. And you look at yesterday. Yeah, it was a tough catch. But peak Travis Kelce makes those catches. When you don't have Xavier Worthy, when you don't have Rashee Rice, when you don't have these guys, Travis has got to step up. He's got to be, and I believe this. Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end in the history of the NFL. He's better than Gronk. He's better than Tony Gonzalez. His peak, his career is longer than Gronk's peak. When I talk about best tight ends, like his career, his peak is better than Gronk's entire career. That's how good Travis has been. And I don't want to hear Patriots fans saying, yeah, but he doesn't block. You think you love Gronk because he blocks? Man, shut up. You don't give a shit about him when he blocks. You want him to score touchdowns. Get out of here with that crap. But he needs to play better. And he knows it. Like, he had that one run, that one catch down the sidelines earlier in the drive before the bobbled ball. And he celebrated like it was awesome. No, that's the standard for Travis Kelce. Those kind of plays are the standard for Travis Kelce. They don't need to be celebrated. That needs to be the standard. And that hasn't been in the first couple of games. Yes, he had the long touchdown run, a touchdown catch on the great concept to get him free against the Chargers. But you look at Travis Kelce's numbers against the Chargers, he's owned them forever. And he was a non-factor outside of that one play in the game against the Chargers. And that play at the goal line changed the game completely. They go up 17-13 there, and suddenly the Eagles are playing from behind. They're pressing. And everything that followed after that changes dramatically. The defense played awesome against the Eagles. The offense is still stagnant. Like at one point, I said to myself, I think Patrick Mahomes is just going to will this team to win by himself, but you can't do that. Travis is awesome. He's the best tight end in the history of the NFL, in my opinion. First ballot Hall of Famer. But he would tell you in an honest moment, I'm not playing at the level that I need to be, especially when those wide receivers are out. He needs to be the difference maker in those situations. And he got a lot of crap last year, and I thought he was very productive last year, extremely productive last year. People are complaining about the touchdowns. Well, there was a game against the Bengals last year where he was wide open in the end zone, and Patrick threw it to offensive lineman Wanye Morris. Travis was wide open for that one. There was the game against the Raiders, which went down to a botched exchange between Aiden O'Connell in the center. Travis broke off a route. Like he was going to the right corner of the end zone, wide open for a touchdown. And for the last second, he turned it the other way. Patrick threw it where he was running to run. Patrick did one of these things, And I'm not completely excusing Patrick either. He missed Tyquan Thornton early in that game. That would have been a huge play. That would have put them in a situation to not have to be so desperate at the end of the game. But when those receivers are limited, Hall of Famer Travis Kelce needs to play like Hall of Famer Travis Kelce. And through 2 games, that has not been the case, if we're just being honest about it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Trey,
You're welcome.
I want to talk about your podcast, Straight Facts, Homie. So give us the straight facts, because Trey, you're someone that has been outspoken when it comes to kind of this new era of sports media and kind of gotcha journalism and the way that a lot of sports media members present themselves, kind of outlandish takes for clicks. You've been kind of on the Chiefs bandwagon. You're one of the few all offseason that said, hey, this team's going to be okay. They're better than they were last year. We're still trying to get to that point. We'll see. But just kind of give us your take on this podcast that you're doing, what you're trying to do with it, where people can find it, and just your overall take on sports media currently.
Sure. Look, at the end of the day, information matters, right? And presenting that information in a way that makes you smarter as a sports fan should matter. After the game last night, where J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings came up short after 3 touchdowns in his fourth quarter, in his first game, and people were saying, I literally watched. I didn't watch. Let me be clear. I saw clips of some shows where like, is J.J. McCarthy better than Caleb Williams? And I'm like, it's after one game. It's after one game. Okay. And, and then he didn't play very well last night. And I put out there all the hot takes that, J.J. McCarthy's better than this quarterback and this quarterback. No one knows yet. The long view was always the best view. I have no idea what J.J. McCarthy's going to become. But I am so sick and tired of arguments and false pretenses and feelings. And here's what I think based on my feelings as opposed to actual statistical data and information. We as journalists or media members have a responsibility to inform. That's our first thing, to inform, okay? And when we take away that sort of credo, and it's based on, well, I'm going to yell louder than you, or I'm just going to scream my opinion based on nothing, then we've lost our way completely. And Straight Facts Homie podcast is basically the opposite of that. We don't care about your feelings. We don't care about your opinions. We don't care about your arguments. We care about what the data tells us and what that shows us. And we have a responsibility. In fact, Chris Brockman, who is a friend of mine, I love him to death. When I put that about JJ out there last night, he's like, well, where's the fun in that? I'm like, the fun comes with being accurate. The fun comes with being right. The fun comes with basing it on information and knowledge and understanding. Like anybody can have a debate over nothing, but you're just having a debate over nothing to see who's the loudest voice in the room. That doesn't mean you're right. It just means you're yelling louder. I have no interest in that. We used to say at ESPN years ago, we don't take ourselves seriously. We take sports seriously. And I feel like now we don't take sports seriously, but we take ourselves very seriously. And that's a problem. That's a problem. And let me be clear, it's not just ESPN. It's Fox Sports. It's everybody. If you want to yell, do it. If that's what you enjoy, have at it. Don't listen to us. Don't subscribe to our podcast. We're not going to yell at you. We're going to tell you this is what we're hearing based on information and data, or this is what the historical things show us. And that's the way we're going to present these things. If you want someone to yell at you and scream at you, there's a million places you can get it. I have no interest in that. It doesn't make you smarter as a sports fan. It doesn't make you. It doesn't help you understand what's happening. It's just somebody, just yelling at you. I have no interest in that, and I think a lot of things have lost their way. And all I want to do is present the information with you in a fun and entertaining way, but it's based on information. If the information isn't right, nothing else matters.
Right.
Well said. And I kind of want to go off on that as well, because some friends of the show and our media outlet here, Ron Jaworski, Sean Salisbury, Merrill Hodge, John
guys.
used to be yeah. And they were on Edge NFL Matchup going over it. Is there any way to get that back into mainstream media and television, or is that just something that's gone forever now? And they've got to do podcasts if you want to get the information like yours.
Look, television is a dying industry. I mean, let's just be honest about it. 77 of the top 100 rated TV shows last year were NFL games. 77 out of the top 100 rated shows in 2024 were NFL games. Live sports is carrying television. So what do you do with this shoulder programming? Well, you want to create debates. You want to create this stuff where I think this and you think that, and let's scream at each other. I don't know if it's ever coming back. And that's fine with me. Like if that's what you want to put out there, go for it. I want to do things in a rational and calm way and do them based on the things that are important, which is the data, the statistics. And I want to be clear, like there are certain stats that I hate, right? The win probability stat, I hate it because it only shows up every time someone blows the win probability stat out of the water. Well, they had a 98.7% chance to win and they didn't. Well, that means it's probably not a good stat. You know what I mean? Like wins and losses to me are not a quarterback stat. Are you blaming Patrick Mahomes for that loss on Sunday? I don't think so. Are you blaming Josh Allen for the Bills' loss to the Chiefs in the 2021 divisional round where he shredded them? Absolutely not. Teams win games. Teams win championships. Our motto on Straight Facts Homie is this is where the debate ends and the information begins. And that's what we want to do. We want to present things to you informationally to help you understand what's happening.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about this Chiefs team this year, and of course we talked about Kelsey already, but all of the leaders are not leading the way, are not playing like they normally should. And that includes Patrick Mahomes. And I talked about it with his deep ball accuracy just being a complete issue, not only this year, but without Tyreek Hill. The deep ball with him and his accuracy hasn't not been there. Kelsey, we talked about his mistakes. Chris Jones, we talked about his mistake last week.
Went inside instead of containing outside. Yeah,
exactly. Harrison Butker missing extra points last week and forcing the Chiefs to try and catch up on points. Missing an important field goal yesterday. What does the locker room do whenever your star players are either playing higher or lower? How does that affect the locker room in the NFL?
It does. It affects it massively. And I want to be clear. You're right. Patrick's airmailed Tyquan Thornton when he couldn't have been more wide open. But again, like it's consistency, it's reps, it's getting comfortable. You go look at Xavier Worthy last year as a rookie. How many times did he run himself out of bounds? Right?
Yeah.
By not knowing situations. The year before, start with Rashee Rice, the first 5, 6, 7 weeks of the season. There's a book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, which is basically the whole thing is it's not doing something, but it's not doing a million different things. It's doing one thing 10,000 times. And doing that one thing 10,000 times builds the repetition that's necessary for success. So when I see Patrick and Tyquan Thornton not on the same page, it's because they haven't had enough reps together. When I see last year Xavier Worthy running himself out of bounds a bunch of times, it's because he and Patrick hadn't had that same consistency together. You saw it in the Super Bowl between Rashee Rice and Patrick 2 years ago. Down the stretch of the season, they were on the same page in lockstep. So again, I'm patient with Patrick because he's blowing records out of the water. He just needs more time with these receivers. Again, 0 snaps in his career with Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown on the field at the same time. I am firmly believing that once those three guys are on the field at the same time, this Chiefs offense is going to be very, very similar to what we saw when Tyreek Hill was here. And oh, by the way, let's talk about the Tyreek thing for a second. Since Tyreek left, he's had 400-yard receiving games. He had 15 in 22 and 23, which is tied for the most in the NFL. So Tyreek is not the issue. The issue is, has Patrick had enough time with these young receivers? And I hear a lot of Chiefs fans saying we're wasting Patrick Mahomes in his prime with these receivers. No, Brett Veach has done a great job. They just haven't been able to stay healthy. And that's a huge part of it. Look, at the end of the day, shit happens in the NFL. Like, the best sometimes mess up. Butker is still one of the most accurate kickers in the history of the NFL. Chris Jones is one of the top 5 defensive linemen in the NFL, period. He made a bad decision against the Chargers to go inside, and Drew Tranquil, of all people, called him out on it. Those things can be course corrected. It's the old Bill Belichick line: do your job. If the Chiefs just do their job, they'll be fine. Now, if they lose to the Giants, we got a house fire. Okay, we got a house fire, and that's a bigger issue. I do not expect that to be the case. I think that when they get everybody together, they'll be fine. The question is, how far behind are they going to be when they get everybody together? The Broncos losing on Sunday was a big deal for the Chiefs. Instead of 2-0, they're 1-1. Who knows what's going to happen with the Chargers and the Raiders on the doubleheader of Monday Night Football? As bad as it's been, they may just be one game out of first place after 2 games when it's all said and done.
So you're saying not to push the panic button, Trey? Don't push the panic button. I know. I love that positivity.
I mean, like, it's the Chiefs, for Christ's sake.
Kansas City wants to die today. I'm telling you.
Kansas City doesn't know. They don't know how good they've had it. Okay. Like, I'll give you an example.
I had to remind everybody. See,
people are saying, "Oh, the Chiefs will never catch the Patriots." Really? Well, hold on a second. You know what Tom Brady's record was with Bill Belichick through his first 5 Super Bowls? You want to take a guess?
He had a loss.
3-2. You know how many seasons it took Brady and Belichick to get to 5 Super Bowls? 11. 11. Mahomes is 3-2 through his first 5 Super Bowls through 7 seasons. So by every comparative metric, the Chiefs dynasty is well ahead of what the Patriots did. Okay? The difference is the Patriots found a way to have 2 separate dynasties. I mean, after they won Super Bowl 39, they didn't win another Super Bowl for 10 years. 10 years. They lost Super Bowl 42. They lost Super Bowl 46. And they didn't get back to the Super Bowl until Super Bowl 49. That's how long it took. So all the Chiefs have to realize is that as long as Andy Reid is there, as long as Patrick is there, as long as GM Brett Veach is there, they're going to be in every game they play. And at the end of the day, more often than not, they're probably going to find a way to win. Look, they've beaten the Chargers 7 straight times. The Eagles are probably a better roster, top to bottom, than the Chiefs. But this idea that it's all going to come crashing down this season and they're going to go like 5-12 is hilarious. Come on, man. You really just look at who we've got. We've got Andy Reid, the only coach in NFL history to have 100 wins with 2 teams, the only coach in NFL history to be the winningest coach for 2 franchises. He's been to 6 Super Bowls. 6? Yeah, 6 Super Bowls. I mean, like, he knows what he's doing. Steve Spagnuolo is the only defensive coordinator with 3 Super Bowl rings. They know what they're doing. They just need to execute. It's like the 2021 season where they started out strong. They lost that game to the Ravens, and then they lost a couple more, and Patrick was tossing up some interceptions. And people are like, oh, my God. Like, what's going on? No, it'll course correct itself. They 1 win, and they're back on track. In fact, I was looking at the schedule. All right, let's pull the schedule up here for a second. Okay, so they got the Giants. They should win that game. They got the Ravens at home. They need to win that game.
Jags.
Then they go to Jacksonville. They can win that game. Then they're 3-2. If they're 3-2, they're fine. Okay, even if they're 2-3, they're probably okay. But then they've got a tough run with the Lions. They got the Commanders, who may or may not have Jaden Daniels. We don't know what's going on. We know what happens in Buffalo. Buffalo always wins in the regular season, and the Chiefs win in the postseason. That's the way it goes.
Truth.
You know? So I just think at the end of the day, as long as they execute, they're going to be fine. And games are razor thin in the NFL. They're razor thin. So these things that have gone against them the last couple of weeks, they just need to turn their way. And I think the talent is there. And again, when you get Rice, Brown, and Worthy on the field together, this offense is going to look very different.
Well, Trey, we cannot thank you enough for your insight here, bringing it as always. Make sure everyone goes and subscribes to your YouTube channel, Trey Wingo, and then the podcast, Straight Facts Homie. It's always great stuff. And Trey, we can't thank you enough for spending some time with us and giving us your insight, man. You're truly one of the greats, and we're all just huge fans. So thank you so much.
Thank you. By the way, the Josh Simmons play on the interception was one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Fantastic. Yes.
One of the greatest things I've ever seen.
About him, there's none now.
That was Larry Allen in 1994 chasing down Darian Connor after a Troy Aikman interception on Monday Night Football. He hit 18.2 miles an hour. Okay. That dude is going to be – the fact that they got him where they got him in the draft, that's the steal of the draft. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, that's a big one. We'll see how this line kind of gels together. Trey, again, thank you so much, my friend. We appreciate you.
You got it, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Trey.
You too. Got to have you on soon again, my friend.
Anytime.
Thanks. Take care.
Yeah, that Josh Simmons play, it had me floored. When I saw it in real time, I thought it was a receiver or a tight end or something chasing him down. And I look back today as I'm doing a rewatch because it's different when you're at the game and when you watch it at home. I said, I know that's not a 7 and a 1. I said, I know that's not a line. That's Josh Simmons tracking him down.
No,
Are we serious?
Speeding in a school zone.
It was ridiculous. That was his speed is. I've never seen an offensive lineman run that fast ever.
Well,
crazy.
Big thanks to Trey Wingo, guys. That's the kind of stuff you're going to get here. And we're going to have Nick Lowery joining us in just a few minutes to talk about some of the kicking woes and some of the things that have happened. But we want to get into a couple things while we have a little bit of a window here. Oh, no. Melena, you've got some crumb bums for us.
Noah, let's start with you. We've now seen two iconic Harrison Butker and Travis Kelce make major blunders in these first two games that have directly contributed to the losses. Are you worried about these guys, Noah?
I mean, I'd like to say no because of how great and prolific they've been over this whole run. And I'm not really worried about Butker. I'm going to have to see more from that. I still think he's at the top of his game, but we'll have to see how this goes. Brian mentioned it, the missed extra point, the missed field goal. I mean, it's early on, it's two things, but these are crucial when your offense is playing the way it is. The defense finally showed up, but you cannot give away these points. You have to have them. So we're going to have more out of Butker. We're going to have his best the rest of the season, especially until Rashee Rice gets back at the very least. As far as Kelce, I don't know. I threw away all the stuff about he's washed last season, but this doesn't look like he's totally into it. As much as he says he is, and as much as he wants to be, and as much work as he put into his body this offseason, there's just something that's not clicking, that's not working. And it's not just Kelce. Brian talked about a little bit, kind of all the leaders, and they're not playing up to their standard, and we're not seeing the greatness that we are accustomed to here in Kansas City. And you see this, Kadarius Toney, the ball going through his hands, Juju, the ball going through his hands for an interception. Now here it is, poking its head out again with Travis Kelce, and it makes you wonder, is it Travis Toney? Is it Kadarius Kelce? What's going on with Travis Kelce here? I don't know. I don't like it. Brian talked about the play where Josh Simmons is running down Mukuabu from the Eagles, and where's Travis Kelce? You said it was a 7-1. It wasn't an 8-7 because Travis gave up on the play.
Yeah. I saw that too. And I don't know I honestly don't know what to think of it because we saw it in the Super Bowl too. It was kind of the same thing where Travis Kelce was just kind of walking during the middle of a play. And sometimes you do have to wonder. It's like, did he want to get payback for the Super Bowl, just playing the Super Bowl again? Or was he prepared for a long season? When he was talking on his podcast, whether to come back or not. And it's like, man, starting from the valley of 0-0 after losing a Super Bowl, it's a reason why there is a Super Bowl hangover. But you do have to wonder, man, if he regrets coming back now instead of just walking off into the sunset last year. Because if you take Travis Kelce off the team, and Lord knows I never want to do that. I love Kelce to death. But if you take him off the team the past 2 weeks, you got to wonder what the results of the game might be. You got to wonder if he doesn't run into Xavier Worthy because he's kind of laid off the line of scrimmage. You got to wonder if Noah Gray, maybe he makes that play. Maybe it's not a touchdown, but okay, we're down at the 1 instead of it being a tipped interception. And I don't know, man. I'm looking at Kelce, and I saw there are flashes though. That catch that he made on that 4th down when he had to scoop down and get the ball low, and then he went on he had some yak of about 10 or 15 yards, and then you saw another play later on in the game on the right side where he was able to get a nice little yak after a nice catch, man. But like we said, the stars have to come to play. They have to, and the Chiefs stars have been letting them down, as well as everybody else on the team as well. But you look for the people who's been the standard throughout this dynasty run, and in order to find some hope, to find some inspiration whenever you're down. When the Chiefs are down 24-0 against the Texans in the 2019 divisional playoffs, it was like the score was 0-0 based on the sideline and what Patrick Mahomes was saying on the sideline. If you guys remember that moment. And they all came together after Patrick rallied them together and showed them what championship football is all about. Who is doing that these past 2 games? Because it's sure in the hell is not any of the leaders on the team, because they have not been playing up to their standard. The coaches have not been coaching up to their standard. We haven't seen the best playbook. I thought we saw a good playbook from Spags yesterday. But as far as the offensive side, we haven't seen the best playbook that we could see, or the best game plan from those guys. So I think it's just a rallying cry for everybody to step their damn game up, from the rooter to from the water boy to Andy Reid to Clark Hunt to everybody has to step their game up now. It has to be championship level football from here on out.
Yep.
Well said. And we got a Raiders fan over here on Instagram. Says it feels like a lot of drama. They need to get rid of Travis. I think he's toxic. So
hey, stop it. Stop.
Whoa,
See, that's the
whoa.
nonsense we don't need right there on the show.
Bro makes a couple bad plays, and now we're cutting the guy from the team.
Well, he's a Raiders fan. I'm sure that's wishful thinking. Like, get rid of Travis. Yeah, that's a good idea as a Raiders fan.
Trade us Brock Bowers for Travis Kelce. How about that?
There you go.
Sure.
Oh man. Okay, Brian, I just want to talk about this Eagles tush push. What are your thoughts, considering they used it 7 times against the Chiefs? Do you feel like they defended it well? And what was your take on the defense in general? I mean, you were at the game.
I thought the defense came out with a lot of juice, which to me made a big difference. It was like 2 different defenses from week 1 to week 2. So I love what they did. And I thought they game planned well against the tush push. But here's something that the tush push provides that we don't even know, that if you really break it down, it gives the Eagles a chance to really take gambles that other teams can't take on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down. Because if it's 4th and 1, if it's 3rd and 2 or whatever, we're in tush push territory right here. So like, okay, we can gamble on a 1st down. We can do a play action. We can do a bomb. We can do a dagger or something to a wide receiver, because we know all we need to do is get it to 3rd and manageable and 4th and short, and we're going to get the 1st down. But I thought the Chiefs came in well prepared for the Eagles defense with the tush push and everything else that they have to offer. It's just that you saw a lot of times on 3rd down, on 3rd and long or 2nd and long, they were able to hit a slant to A.J. Brown, or they were able to hit an RPO or something to Devontae Smith on the side to really get those 3rd manageables, those 4th and shorts. But look, like we talked about with Trey Wingo, clearly we saw video evidence of not only the Eagles, but the Chiefs being offsides too. And now we get to a point to where, whoa, how in the hell do we actually manage this thing? Because on the last play where the Eagles got their 1st down or got the touchdown to go up 10 points, they sped up to the line of scrimmage. And they do this on purpose. They stay in the huddle, and then they speed up to do a quick snap count to catch the defense off guard, to catch whatever momentum that you can catch. Because the only difference with the tush push is that the offense knows the snap count. The defense doesn't know the snap count, and that's the total disadvantage you have with just needing to get 1.5, 2 yards with this thing. But I think this gives legitimate argument and a legitimate push to really ban the tush push after this year. It's coming.
Thank you for that,
Yeah.
Brian. Clint, I want to wrap with you. We hear a lot about the Chiefs fatigue from the national media, but do you think a little bit of that actually exists within our own fan base after all these years of success?
I do. I think that getting to the top, we saw this with Rocky Balboa. When he beat Apollo Creed, and what happened in Rocky 3 when he got destroyed by Clubber Lang in that first fight, because he'd lost the eye of the tiger. I think it's hard to stay at the top. It's harder to get there, and it's harder to stay there. Ask programs like Alabama in the college football ranks. And I think the Chiefs right now are experiencing some uncertainty, especially with an 0-2 start. I didn't feel a lot of buzz coming around from this, hosting the defending Super Bowl champions on the America's Game of the Week with Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt calling the game at a sold-out Arrowhead Stadium. And Brian, you were there. I think the atmosphere was just fine, but it does feel like there's a little lag. And we've seen Taylor Swift now at games for, now this is her third season. She and Travis are engaged now. We've seen all the fame. We've seen all the things. Patrick and Brittany now have a third child. We've been there for all of it. We've seen Patrick grow up. We've seen these players all go from Chris Jones getting drafted in 2016 to now being a 3-time Super Bowl champ. It's hard to maintain that hunger. It's hard to maintain that drive and that fire. And I think that all of that, coupled with playing 3 more games a year than every other team, almost every season for 7 years, I think it's kind of all caught up. And there is a little bit of fatigue around the city, around my home, around people I know that I talk to. There's a little bit of fatigue.
Yeah, people want to start winning again for sure, and I think everybody's starting to stress out. But like Troy said, we can't push the panic button yet.
No.
Do you guys think that tush push should actually be a dance move at this point?
There is, well, it could be a lot of things. There's a lot of ways. Yeah. I don't know, but like Dean Blandino said, who's been on this show before, Milena, he's done with it. I think Brian agrees. Noah agrees. I mean, it's just.
I think whenever you get a guy like Dean Blandino to say that on a national, but that Fox Game of the Week, that was watched by most of the country. So it was kind of like a Sunday night football game, except earlier. So whenever you have him on there saying that in front of everybody, that proves to me that it's not just backdoor conversations now. These are conversations that's happening on the forefront, and now it's starting to leak on to TV, because I think officials are tired of this play. I think people that are in charge of football are tired of defending it, because there was already there was a big push to ban it last year. It's just that the Eagles and the NFL got other teams to go along with, when they were voting on it in the owners meetings, they got everybody to because you need a certain amount of teams and owners to agree to ban this tush push. So man, look, man, that campaign, it started yesterday, I think, to reignite that push to ban that thing. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I've never been for just the pushing element, just in football.
It looks like rugby, and I know the NFL isn't happy with the product on TV. It's so anticlimactic, and that's not what the NFL goes with. That's part of the thing with the NFL, is the drama of it all. Is the anticipation of a 4th and 1, and if you already know what's about to happen, the NFL ain't gonna ride with that.
Brian, how do we get the offense back on track? Oh, sorry, Noah.
The running game.
No, you're fine. I was just going to add
well, until we get Rice and Worthy back, I mean, what happens?
Brian, you're right. If you want some drama, the Chiefs in 3rd and 4th down short situations. Now that's some drama for you, because it's usually not going to get converted.
Yeah, the running game is suffering, and it's bad. Whenever Patrick Mahomes is your leading rusher, and I talked about this on Brian's World about maybe turning Patrick Mahomes into Patrick Vick until you can get these receivers back and make defenses switch up how they play defense against us. But until we have a legitimate threat of a running game, the Chiefs are going to have this problem until Worthy and Rice get back.
Yeah, and it sounds like Worthy could be back as soon as this Giants game. They're hopeful I just don't. I'm worried about it. I don't think we can trust. Oh, he's back, and so we're just going to have him for the rest of the year. I think that shoulder could pop out again. Then he needs surgery, and he's gone. And then it's just down to Rice and Hollywood. But we'll take our number one receiver back.
And you're also missing Jalen Royals too. I saw something on Twitter this past week that said the Jalen Royals injury is not getting talked about enough because they believe that was a part of the contingency plan with Rice being suspended. Is Jalen Royals kind of taking up some of those Rashid Rice receptions, and now it's like Hollywood Brown was lipping around the other day. So it's like, man, I the Chiefs have the worst luck with receivers in the past 4 or 5 years. I guess maybe it's the curse of Tyreek Hill or something. I don't know, but Tyquan Thornton, though, he seems to be filling in that role of in case Xavier Worthy isn't 100% or in case that shoulder pops back out, maybe he's somebody you can rely on that deep ball. But the Chiefs need every single piece of this offense back together ASAP.
And Noah, how about the fact that we paid these interior linemen in Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith? And I'm sorry, these guys haven't lived up to it either.
No, I saw one where Trey Smith just fell down. It was where Isaiah Pacheco ran to the outside when he could have just followed it up the seam behind Creed Humphrey, and he went to the outside and tried to outrun the Eagles, and it was like a 3 or 4 yard loss behind the line of scrimmage. And Trey Smith fell down. I don't know if we should have paid Trey. I don't know what you do. I would have liked to have kept Joe Tooney and Trey, but I know money's thin. What do you do? Do you not pay Karlaftis, McDuffie? There's a ton of money that has to go around. So I don't know what you do, but I know Trey's more of a run blocker. We refuse to run the ball, whether we are good at it or not. We just refuse to even try it. So I don't know. I don't like what's going on in the offensive line. Kingsley is a freaking matador out there doing his little Olay dance, letting linemen come right in. So I don't know what's going on or how this line's going to get better. I really like what I see out of Josh Simmons, but Juwan Taylor's got his issues with his penalties that continue on. Trey's not playing up to his standard. Creed's not playing up to his standard. Kingsley's lost. I don't think he's ever going to get it. I don't know what we do at left guard. So we're in some trouble here.
I had to intervene right here. There was an important part of the game in the beginning of the second quarter. Did you guys notice anything on the field? No.
When Josh Simmons was gone?
Yes. That's exactly
dehydrated
what I'm
and yeah.
Oh, he was dehydrated. That's what they're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they're dehydrated.
Did you look at number 77 at left tackle? Did you look at
Jalen Moore?
Did you look at him? Did you see it?
It was a bad first play. I know that.
Did you get a tingle in your spine a little bit? Did your blood begin to boil a little bit? Look, I had my eyes on him. I said, what the hell is Josh? Is Josh Simmons hurt? I had no clue. But I did look at 77. I thought he looked fine. I thought he looked aggressive. By the way, Josh Simmons is going to be at that left tackle spot for the next 15 years, Chiefs Kingdom. We might as well retire number 71 right now. I just want to say that right now.
This year it's Josh. 15
he looks great. But our next right tackle is on the field right now. And I think he could be the right tackle this year. I think Juwan Taylor's on a really, really thin ice. I think his leash is really short because they got a great right tackle right there. I think Jalen Moore could play left or right tackle for this team. But I'm telling you, I'm just saying, it was only a series. It was only like 4 or 5 plays. But I'm telling you, watch. There's something to keep on your radar, Chiefs Kingdom. Jalen Moore looks good. If him replacing Juwan Taylor, I know that's on everybody's wish list right now, Chiefs Kingdom. It could be coming soon. And I noticed Juwan Taylor had look, the penalties and letting a couple sacks go yesterday certainly doesn't help his case. I'm just saying, watch 77, Chiefs Kingdom.
Well, we're going to close off today as we're trying to have a little group therapy session. Nick Lowery, Chiefs Hall of Famer, you're going to kind of help us take us home here tonight as we lead into a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Nick Lowery, how are you doing, sir?
Well, we have had a great run. And the run may not be over, but it's going to have to take a different form because we're not Tariq Hill offense that could score in 2 seconds and embarrassed the reigning dominant team, the New England Patriots. You might remember in our first Super Bowl season, we don't have a really dominant running game at this point, as showed yesterday. Travis Kelce is, I think, writing his own songs now, because that's what seems to be in his head a bit more than the kind of remarkable big play, Hall of Famer that he's been the last 8-9 years. So then we have a quarterback that is the best thing that's ever happened to us. God bless Len Dawson. But now that quarterback thinks he has to do everything. And then we have Juwan Taylor at right tackle. Juwan Taylor, just kidding. Seriously, how could we go through an entire offseason thinking that things were going to be okay and that Juwan Taylor was going to suddenly morph into, a reasonable right tackle? You don't have to know football that well to know if you don't have great protection at the tackles, particularly left tackle with a right-handed quarterback, but still. And I think we've got the answer at left, but we just didn't do enough. I just don't understand it. I said this all season on WHB last year. I would rather have a 6th offensive lineman and a 3rd tight end and have 2 guys going out, because I know that Patrick has the ability, when he has time, to find the open guy, or he can run as he did yesterday. So he's developing bad habits because he feels like he has to do everything. This has been, and this will be, a surprising team because it's the best coach. I still double down on that in terms of offense and defense, particularly on defense. Yesterday, shutting down again Saquon Barkley for the 2nd straight game, this time to 88 yards. And, Jalen Hurts, 101 yards passing. But imagine how well we would have done if we could sustain a drive and pound it out when we want to. We haven't been able to pound out anything for a long time. And you remember in the Super Bowl, we had almost no runs. We had, 1 run in the first half, and then you get behind and you have to throw. So I just don't – I almost feel like it's sort of loving and admiring Patrick Mahomes so much that we think he's Superman. And in the end, God bless him, we want him to play another 10 years and be the Patrick Mahomes that we've known. It's not going to happen if we don't take care of protecting him. It's that simple.
Well said. And just with that, and the offensive struggles, knowing that we rely that much more on the points of our kicker. We've had a missed extra point in week 1, a missed field goal, although it was a long one yesterday. What do we make of Harrison Butker? What have you seen out of him? And is this just something that, okay, these 2 things happen, but it's not a continuation? It's not something to worry about.
Hey, he's hit a 58-yarder. He is good. He's one of the 2 best kickers in the NFL. I'm not worried about him. What happens, though, I will say this: when you're a kicker and every single point matters because your offense, you just don't know what they're going to do, and your defense is good, but maybe not quite as dominant, not with the great pass rush we've had in the past, perhaps, you start thinking maybe, So we have to be more balanced. And, of course, missing our 2 best receivers makes a huge difference. But, again, I may be a kicker, but I know you win the game on the line. You win the game knowing that you can push it. How did Philadelphia win yesterday, Milana? They won with the tush push, right?
That's right.
I'm sure they would have been preferring to be pushing. No, I'm just having you in the tush push too. But we had to be inappropriate. Sorry. But the truth is they won with the dominant on the big plays when they could get the big first down or the touchdown. Of course, even to the point where they wouldn't call them when they were offside. Was that 3 times they were offside? So it's one on the offensive line. It's one with a pass rush. That's it.
Nick, I'm happy you're on the show because I've always wanted to ask you this, and this has nothing to do with the game. But after your last season with the Chiefs, you actually attended a Chiefs game. How did that, when you were playing with the Jets, how in the hell did that work? Because you were actually in the stands. I think this was 1994, 1995. How did you work that out with the Jets?
I didn't. I just went to the game. I was making all my kicks, and we went. And then, if you see the nice story by Leif Leipzig, it was awesome. Everybody around me. I was sitting, ironically, in front of Lynn Elliott's sister and brother.
Oh boy.
Right in front. And I was just honored and excited. The best thing that ever happened to me was playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. So didn't have to work it out with them. And, then everybody stood up and started doing the tomahawk chop. So I did that. But, that was
so
then.
you didn't have to clear that with your team or anything? You could have just went to the game?
Yeah.
That's great. The more you know.
Nick, I mean, with what we've seen, and we've talked about the evolution. I mean, the kicks are incredible. We saw the Dallas kicker go for a 60 plus. We're talking about Butker missing a 58-yarder like he was missed a 38-yarder or something. I mean, the distances are just insane. And so with that being said, the margin for error is still thin. These guys are just bombing it. So is Butker going to be able to kind of evolve with this and keep his sort of status as one of the top 5 kickers in the league?
I think he is, and he has. Just to clarify, because everybody, Milana, I want to bring you into this conversation. Everybody else is talking, but you're not. So, but seriously, Deflategate. What happened with Deflategate? Oh my God, the actual pressure of the football was down 2 pounds. Anybody that knows your tires, right? You get your tires, let's say at 35 pounds or 36 pounds. At 74 degrees, suddenly it becomes, 15 degrees. Your tire pressure will go down several pounds. So they made a huge deal out of that with Tom Brady, who, by the way, in the second half of that same game, played well. But they don't make anything out of the fact that the balls are now broken in. And kickers can, if you remember Russell Erxleben back in 1980-81 and Tony Little, and those guys were kicking 65-yard field goals because they had a rule that allowed them to use their practice game ball. So quick science, the foot connects with the football for 4,000ths of a second. If you break the ball in, kind of like a baseball mitt that's new, anybody that played baseball, right? Brian, right? I mean, he can barely catch it. But when you break it in, it adds maybe 1/2,000th of a second that the ball is being hit, and the power and impetus is being driven into the ball. 12.5% is an extra 6-7 yards.
Nick, I love that you pulled me into this conversation because appropriately, I have a half deflated signed Tom Brady ball sitting behind me that Tom Brady gave me. And it really is quite deflated because I've had it for so long. And I just asked my husband, I'm like, should we put some air in this guy?
No.
Go ahead.
No.
I was going to talk to you about in 1993, none of us were born, including you, Nick, but somehow you were on that team. You played with Joe Montana and Marcus Allen. I have a Marcus Allen ball back there as well. And you guys went for the 1993 AFC title game. Can you talk about that and take us back a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we'd beaten Houston Oilers back then, who'd won 11 straight games, and I'll never forget flying back and seeing 30,000 cars to the airport. It was ridiculous, that excitement. Then coming into the game, and in the parking lot, Joe Montana is two rows in front of me on the team bus. And there's a little old lady with Buffalo Bills, and she's got her beanie and everything. Mm-hmm. And she's right next to our bus as we drive by, and then she goes, and Joe Montana goes, "Welcome to Buffalo, gentlemen." So that game was huge. And frankly, a guy who's become a pretty good friend, Bruce Smith, I kicked my second field goal late in the third quarter. We're 20-13. We stop them. We get the ball back. So if we score, we tie the game in the fourth quarter, and Bruce sacks Joe and gives him his worst concussion ever. And by the way, it was so bad that the Chiefs had security guys standing and sitting on either side of Joe, and I was about 10 feet to his left, 15 feet to his left, and the guy in front and the guy in back, so they couldn't see that Joe was kind of reeling for a good hour after that hit. If he had stayed instead of David Craig, we still might have beaten them. And I know we would have done a better job against the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
Amen.
Agree.
Absolutely, Nick. We're trying to get this thing back on track. We are desperately out of time here on Arrowhead Allies as we are leading into Monday Night Football tonight. To double headers going on. We are just at the end of our ropes here, Nick. Thanks so much for jumping on. We're trying to get this thing back on track. The Chiefs go to the Giants next week, and then the Ravens. It's a chance to get a couple big wins here and get this thing back to 500. That's where we're at, Nick, right now.
Chiefs 26, Giants 20.
No,
Yes.
There it
Love
is.
hey, call it a close. It's going to be a close one. I agree. Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
You know, I wanted to ask you guys this question because I'm having difficulty right now determining who should be feeling better. Okay, because if we beat the Giants by one possession next week, I'm still not going to be satisfied or happy with that victory.
No.
But then I look at the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 2-0, but they have issues all over the place. So would you rather be in the Cincinnati Bengals shoes with the issues they have and being 2-0 with barely having wins over the Jaguars and Browns, or
And Mahomes out
losing
3
to
months?
2 Super Bowl contenders?
No, you're right, Brian. You're in a better spot at 0-2 than I think maybe even the Indianapolis Colts are at 2-0.
Right.
And so forget the Bengals who've lost their quarterback for possibly the season. So you're right, but that doesn't mean I think that it's a transition. Trying to win this game against the New York Giants, it's going to be our dipping the toes back in the water back to winning football, whether that be by one possession or multiple. So it's about getting there, getting the win. Russell Wilson just threw for 450 yards in this last game, guys, in a loss to the Cowboys. The Giants aren't good. They're not a team that should be beating us, but the Chiefs have got to find a way to win football games again. They got to figure this out. So, Brian, it's going to be hard to be satisfied now. Fast forward a week and it's 1-2, and you bring the Ravens here and you walk out of that 500. You're 2-2. You can just all bets are off and you're right back to square one. So that's next week. We'll cross that bridge, of course, when we get there. But
Stay positive, everybody.
well, this is prediction time, Marlena. So I'm gonna start the predictions now because I'm just Marlena. Chiefs win. Chiefs beat
the Chiefs are going to win, and I think it's going to be a great vote of confidence for them, and they're going to feel what it feels like to win again. And I think that's what's going to carry them through the rest of the season. The Eagles are tough, you guys. We've played some tough games. It's not like we played some chumpy guys. I mean, and we were down receivers. I mean, there's some weird things. I mean, we didn't even talk about Andy Reid making that wonky call yesterday.
Yes, Marlena, thanks for bringing that up.
He always takes accountability for things.
Not
And I
Milana,
think
by the way. Sorry, Marlena, for that.
Okay?
I said not Milana, by the way. It's
oh, that's okay. I mean, I called Justin Hebert last week. So, I mean, touche. We all do it.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs.
Been a little more humbling for Justin.
We're just going to say it's 24-21 Chiefs. And remember when the Giants came with Daniel Jones here in the middle of the Chiefs struggles back in 2021? Just put that game in, and it's going to be that game.
Okay.
Oh, good. I'll go ahead and take it before Brian goes. And I know I had us losing last week bad, and it was a close game. But I've got this one, although I don't think it's going to be easy because we've seen our struggles on the offensive line. The Giants can rush the passer at least, so that's going to give us some problems with the likes of Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau and Abdul Carter, their number one pick. So it's going to be a struggle here, but I think we get the win 23-17 at 6 points. And if you want to see me say some crazy things on this show, let the Giants win this game.
Noah's back on the train, everybody. Noah's back.
You mean like the 10-9 loss or whatever it was in 2017 when we went to New York?
No, don't do that. No, I hated that game. I specifically remember that game because I was flying into town on the morning of that game, and I thought Patrick Mahomes might have saw some time that game because I thought we was going to blow the Giants out. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, with Alex Smith, he'll be out of the game by the fourth quarter, and we'll get to see a little Patrick. Yeah, that was Kelsey throwing an interception, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Kelsey threw an interception that game, and we lost 3 straight. Remember, we lost to the Jets
and Bills.
It was the New York sweep.
Yeah,
Jets, Giants, and Bills. So, and the Bills, this was the year before they drafted Josh Allen. So, they weren't even.
Right, Taylor, the quarterback that day.
I think it was Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's what Milena, these are the things that stick with these. There's reason why men are only capable of so much in this world, and you just had a crash course as to why. Because we remember those random horrible overtime losses from 7 years ago. Yes.
Terrible.
We are, okay?
None of that's happening this week, though.
What'd you say?
Well, I was going to say none of that's happening this week. It's going to be a dirty,
We're gonna
muddy
be
game.
good. Yeah.
It's going to be, I think this is the biggest test for the offensive line this year.
Yep.
They'll pass it. Look, the Giants' defensive line is mean. It's probably a top 3 defensive line in the National Football League. But I think the Chiefs will get away with this. I'm not going to be happy with a 1-possession win. I'm not. So I'm thinking 22 is going to be ugly. 22, let's go 23-12. Chiefs get the dub Sunday Night Football.
There it is. We're leading you guys in. It is Monday night doubleheader. We're so excited. From Elena Scantlin Barrett, for Brian B. Shiner from Hot 103 Jams, from Noah and I, we can't thank you guys enough. We love it every week. We might be without Milena next week. We hadn't prepared you guys for.
No, we changed. We changed our dates, so I'm going to be gone. And I'll text you.
Okay, we're going to have Milena, guys. We're going to get through this together. Thank you so much for joining us on Arrowhead Allies. United we stand, divided we fall. Thank you, everyone.
Here's to 1 and 2. Go Chiefs!